So guys, okay, so we're going to go through and we're going to have a look at this. I thought this whole Forbes article had buried. I thought we literally debunked it. But apparently no. Someone has gone through and uploaded, Laymen Gaming has uploaded a video literally yesterday. This has had 130,000 views. So obviously we want to go and have a look at it. And just basically debunk everything that they've basically got wrong in this video, because there is quite a bit. There's quite a bit they've left out. There's quite a bit that they haven't actually gone through and they've got things wrong. So let's just basically jump into it to kick it off.
Hello there. Thank you for visiting Star Citizen's Kickstarter homepage. Let us tell you how this has all been very possible. We're all very excited now about Star Citizen, but we need help from lovely people like you. And when you tell your friends how great this game will be, they'll help too.
Isn't that the cornerstone of every game, though? For example, say Anthem. We'll just use this as an example, right? Anthem has been released, and I, in some far out distant world, actually enjoyed playing it. Some parallel universe where EA actually went through and made a decent game. And I went through and I enjoyed playing it, and then I told my friends. And then my friends went out and brought the game. Isn't that the cornerstone of game selling and game market? Isn't the fact that that's what you want? You want people to go out to enjoy your game so that they tell their friends, and then they go out and they also buy the game? I don't know why we're making out this is such a bad idea, considering everybody, every gamer or every game company wants this exact model. EA, Blizzard, all of the guys out there, Bethesda, they all want people to go out and to enjoy their games and tell their friends and family so they can go through and buy the game as well. It is the cornerstone of game sales. Why is it that Star Citizen is such a bad person for doing the exact same thing? Now, you know they're going to make the argument, because it's a game that's not yet finished. Okay, yeah, you're right. It is a game in development, yes. But here's the thing. You don't need to back Star Citizen to play it sometimes. For example, we've just had a free fly over the past week where it was actually free for you to go in and play the game. Also, at the end of the day, if you don't want to back the game, then guess what? You don't have to go and back the game. If you want to wait for Star Citizen to be finished, you can go through and wait for it to be finished. Which is a lot of what my friends have done. A lot of my friends have turned around and said, I want to wait for it to come out before I'm going to buy it. My response? Yep, no problems. Fully get that. So I don't understand why we're making out that Star Citizen is such a bad company for doing this exact model.
It's quite simple, really. Star Citizen relies on wonderful people like you to invest and tell your friends. So that...
Tell me someone in Star Citizen that is paying $100 per month for like a subscription or some service. Like, that's what they're making out here. It's $100 a month. It's not. It's the only subscription services that I know of are the subscribers. That's the way you go through and you actually can pay $10 or $20 a month, and that's the most, to actually go through and to help build their shows, the TV shows that they put out every week. They put out 2 shows every week. The money from that is supposed to go and obviously helping build those, build those shows and for community events like CitizenCon and stuff like that. So I don't know where they're getting this $100 a month. I really, really don't. I don't know anyone that is paying $100 a month. So, yeah.
I'll invest too. Then they'll tell their friends and they'll invest too.
Like I said, cornerstone for every game sales.
When will the game be out, you ask? Well, oh, no. You can't rush perfection.
With everything that has happened over the past few years, Anthem, Bioshock, Bioshock, whatever it is, Destiny 2. Are we really complaining about a game company that is actually waiting for the game to be finished before they go putting it out? Is this what the gaming industry is at the moment now? That we're so used to a broken game, like Anthem, for example, for it to be released and patched later, that we're actually going to have a shot at someone for actually waiting for the game to be finished before they release it. Oh my God, imagine the shock, imagine the horror where a game development company wants to actually finish a game before they release it. By the way, Star Citizen, not the only company that's doing this at the moment. Also, CD Projekt Red for Cyberpunk 2077 is doing the exact same thing. People constantly ask them, when is Cyberpunk coming out? Their response, when it is ready. The exact same line that Star Citizen says. And they've both been in development for roughly the same period of time. Spoiler alert, we'll talk about that in a sec. Two independent gaming development studios where they don't have the publishers lording over them, going through, making them release a buggy and incomplete game like Anthem. Oh my God, let's chastise them, burn them at the stake, because that's just not how things are done apparently anymore. Like, if that's what you're complaining about, look, Chris, do I want you to finish Star Citizen? Yes. But at the end of the day, I also want the game to be complete. I want the game to be playable. And I don't want another Anthem. The reason why I didn't buy Anthem, the reason why I haven't brought any AAA game over the past year or so, the last game I brought, the AAA game I brought, was Destiny 2. And that was so broken that it literally made me just stop buying AAA games. So, yeah.
Hello everyone, so today we are going to have a coffee cup.
This is just them trying to reference Game of Thrones, the coffee cup thing.
And Star Citizen. Now, this is a game that we have not spoken about much because, honestly, we just thought it would go away.
How did that go for you? Obviously not very well.
Yeah.
That if we didn't talk about it at all, eventually it would disappear. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
It's the meme that I just thought was never worth memeing because it was going to be gone before we finished the edit.
Like
that.
How'd that go? Just asking.
That's what it felt like.
For 8 years now, this game has been going.
Is it 7 or 8? Okay.
It's nearly 8.
Okay, nearly.
Oh, hang on. Hang on. How many years was that?
Game has been
Is
going.
it 7 or 8? Okay.
It's nearly 8.
Okay, nearly.
No, it's actually 7 years. November 2012, from what I remember. I wasn't a backer back then, but that's roughly the date I keep hearing. So 2012 to 2019. That's 7 years. I think Star Citizen's actually been in development for 6 going on 7 years. Now, I don't know where you get the 8 from. And the fact that your co-host actually says, oh, is it 7 or 8? And you're like, oh, well, it's actually been in development for 7 going on 8. But the thing is that later in this video, they also keep going through and they keep referencing 8 years. Even after he's been corrected, he keeps still going on about being in development for 8 years.
And just recently, Forbes put out a big expose talking about the clusterfuckedness of...
That's a word.
It is, of Star Citizen. It's pretty...
And there's nothing in it that we already didn't know or that was a lot of crap. And to be honest, most of it's been debunked already. But, hey, me narrative, right?
Pretty damning stuff. And we'll take you through it right now. Alright, let's play a game, Sam.
Okay.
Let's play game development cost
Here we go.
game, okay?
Yeah.
You
Who
have to
wants
guess-
to be a meme heir?
You have to guess how much it costs to make this game, okay? Destiny.
Okay, well, guys, I actually don't know this. Surprisingly enough, I do not know the cost of Destiny. I'm going to say $200 million. I'm locking it in, Jerry.
It's 140 million. Pretty close.
140 million, I think, was without publishing costs. And this is Destiny 1, I presume he's talking about. Did we not want to talk about Destiny 2? By the way, Star Citizen and Destiny, you can't even compare them. Star Citizen, you can literally pick anywhere on any planet and say, I want to go and land my spaceship there. Destiny, it's all on rails. I know, because I played Destiny, and I played Destiny 2. I've got 3,000 hours and over a Destiny. Huge Destiny player. And it was on rails. Star Citizen, pick a spot, land there, get out, walk around. By the way, Destiny, loading screens. Star Citizen, no loading screens. You know, there's a lot of differences between Destiny and Star Citizen. Star Citizen, you can get around and you can walk around your ship. You can do space combat, stuff like that. Destiny? No. It's mostly just a ground FPS thing. There's huge differences between the two of them. By the way, like I said, I'd like to know if that 140 whatever million... And by the way, he's talking about Destiny there, so that was a few years ago, right? But, regardless... But say that 140 million, I want to know if that's including publishing. Because the figure that they pick up later for Star Citizen, which is wrong by the way, but the figure they use actually is including the publishing costs.
Okay, 140 million, cool. It gives me now an understanding of, okay, next question.
Star Wars: The Old Republic.
Okay, that was a big MMO. I'm going to say 200 million again.
Okay, that's actually correct.
Oh! Yeah.
So, just on this, I just want to mention the fact that the game they're talking about there was actually released in 2011. You're trying to compare a game that was released in 2011 to a game that's been in development now. Big difference in technology, big difference in game costs, game technology development costs. Even just the engine itself is not built on the same game. Like, you're comparing literally apple and oranges here.
Yes!
Grand Theft Auto 5.
Okay, that's the biggest game like ever. I'm going to say 300 million.
265 million.
Oh!
Okay. So, Grand Theft Auto 5, $260 million, right? Remember that.
See, guys, fuck you tune in for the genius of not me.
So I'm gonna ask you now, Sam. How much do you think that Star Citizen has spent? Even though you know the answer.
I actually know the
How
answer
much
to
do you think
this is the one.
Star Citizen has spent on
Let me
their
think.
game?
$240, everybody.
$288 million has been spent.
No, they haven't. So, they reckon that $280 million has been spent on Star Citizen. Let's back it up.
$40, everybody.
$288 million has been spent on Star Citizen.
Has been spent. Okay, interesting. Interesting how you got that fact. Because when we go to Star Citizen, and we've got the web page here, they have actually raised $224 million. Okay. Now, even if you go through and you take the $45 million investment that they actually got from the investors, $45 million plus $224 million, it's not 280, is it? Now, by the way, that's money raised. They still have money in their bank account. So at the end of the day, my question is this. Why are you claiming that that is money spent when we know that is factually not true? We know they had $15 million left over from the $200 million that they had raised. And we also presume that that $45 million, which is earmarked for publishing costs, for advertising and stuff like that, is also sitting in a bank account somewhere. So at the moment, there's roughly $60 million, we presume, that is sitting around in Star Citizen's bank account for them to go through and to publish Squadron 42, get the game out there, plus the $15 million left over, plus whatever money they raised between the end of last year and this year. And you can see that some of it's like $500,000 in a month. So, you're just wrong. You're factually wrong when you claim it's $280 million that they've spent. They haven't even raised that amount, let alone spent that at all. So, no.
Star Citizen, a game that is in alpha state.
Yeah.
Generously titled alpha, by the way, because it's really more of like an elaborate tech demo.
It's not actually listed as alpha, it's actually listed as pre-alpha. It's literally on the frigging screen. Right down here. Pre-alpha. Jesus Christ, that's so frustrating when people can't even do a decent job.
Actually, the largest
Yeah.
Kickstarter in the history of Kickstarter. Like,
Well, we
that's
think
it.
that, yeah, it's definitely the biggest game Kickstarter that we've ever seen. We're pretty sure it's also the biggest
It was
Kickstarter
bigger than
ever.
the Ouya console. Remember that console, that Android console?
Was it bigger than the Soldier Boy console?
I think it.
Wow.
was.
That was fantastic.
So-
we should review the Soldier Boy console.
We need to
guys.
get one. I don't think Nintendo
Fuck.
will let us do
I don't
it.
think. I don't think it's for sale anymore. Sadly.
$288 million on a game that has been in development for 8 years and still.
And it's not 8 years. Your co-host literally corrected you earlier in this video. He said it was 7 going on 8. And then you admitted that. But you're still saying 8. Get your fucking facts straight.
Not out yet. It really shows that there's some pretty worrying stuff going on at Cloud Imperium Games to make that sort of thing happen. Now,
We thought Anthem internally was.
Alright, so let's talk about this. Okay, so I'm going to bring up a list here of Grand Theft Auto. So these are the Grand Theft Auto series. And here you can see in 2013, Grand Theft Auto 5 was released. It was released on PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, PS4, and the Xbox One. Here's the thing though. Before Grand Theft Auto 5, Rockstar and the subsidiaries and whatnot had a chance to build all these previous games. They've been literally building games for over the past 16 years. Right? DMA Design, Rockstar Canada, DMA Design, Rockstar North. Like, they've gone through and they've been literally building this series. So not only have they had the previous experience of going through and having all the models, all the engine already sorted, having all the source, having all the tools, development tools and everything already done, but they've also got the staff already in development. They've already got the staff in the actual studio. They haven't had to go through and obviously do major employment runs or anything like that, like what Star Citizen has had to do. They've got the staff, they've got all the knowledge, they've got all the know-how, they've got the engine, they're just simply changing the city, changing a few things, and putting out a new game. Compare that to Star Citizen, for example, who's had to go through not only buy all the buildings and build up the studio, but also go through, design the engine, design the tools that are involved with the engine, design all the assets, the plans, the models, everything from scratch. So, at the end of the day, yes, there is a big difference between Grand Theft Auto 5, for example, and also Star Citizen, because of the fact that Star Citizen hasn't had that pre-existing models, engine, or whatever it may be to work from. They've had to start from the beginning. Now, obviously, when Star Citizen Squadron 42, Chapter 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it may be, comes out, then obviously at the end of the day, it's going to be a lot faster and a lot quicker. And this is something that Chris has already talked about. He said that once Chapter 1 for Squadron 42 is released, Chapters 2 and 3 will be a lot quicker because they've got that existing models, they've got all the existing stuff there that they can reuse some of it. And that's the same thing with Grand Theft Auto. It's one thing that people don't talk about when they go through and compare Grand Theft Auto 5, for example, with Star Citizen. People like to compare them because of their MMOs and blah, blah, blah. That said, even if, you know, like, I don't know what the size the playground is like on, for example, Grand Theft Auto 5, but to give you an idea, Star Citizen uses 64-bit procedural for the actual playfield. It's some astronomical amount of area that they can use. To give you an idea, The Witcher 3, that everybody likes to compare to Star Citizen for having the biggest playfield. The whole area of The Witcher 3 fits in a crater of a moon that is in Star Citizen. And that's just one crater of one moon. And in Star Citizen we have what? There's like 3 or 4 planets in the system. Those all have like 3 or 4 moons, whatever it may be. It gives you an idea of the play field of Star Citizen. But me narrative, I suppose.
Wrong. Well, guys, it's going to be a whole other thing. Where's
So-
Jason Schreier when we need him? I want to see his expose on this.
Well, this Forbes actually spoke to 20 former employees
Yeah.
about what the fuck is going on at Cloud Imperium Games. And they paint a very clear picture of Chris Roberts, the man at the top of the pyramid.
pyramid. Interesting way that you put that, Ralph.
Exactly right.
Yeah, interesting way, because they try and make out that it's a pyramid scheme. And by the way, these guys are in Australia. FYI, you're not protected by freedom of speech in Australia. Just warning you now, you might want to go laying off the labels of calling this a pyramid scheme. Because you could get sued. Especially considering this has had 100 and something thousand views.
Very interesting.
Very specific
This
words.
isn't. Are you trying to insinuate there's some sort of pyramid scheme? Okay, that's not right. Okay, we're here to tell you the actual news, and that is the news. Okay, it's a pyramid scheme.
It is definitely a pyramid.
Thank you very much, Chris. If you want legal action, here's the video for you.
That this is not one of those shady pyramid schemes you've been hearing about. No, sir. Our model is the trapezoid that guarantees each investor an 800% return within hours of your initial...
Chris Roberts has already responded to this sort of bullshit before. When you buy your ships, you are pledging to help development. There is no investments. There is no return on investment except for your making the game and what fun you want to go through and actually play the game later. You are literally pre-ordering a game like half the other AAA games out there that you can pre-order, by the way. And you can go through and pre-order this game, and the only difference is that you can actually play it when it's in alpha. There is no investing. There is no making $800 or 800% investments or any of that sort of shit. Okay, it's not a pyramid scheme, and them calling it one could actually open them... I would be talking to lawyers. I really, really would. Because that's quite a serious claim. Pyramid schemes are actually illegal in Australia, and I presume over in America as well. That is quite a serious claim that they're making.
Uh-oh, the cops!
They paint a picture of Chris Roberts being totally haphazard in his management style, also way too focused on minor details. They gave this one example of, this guy who had to work for 18 months just to get the visual display of ship shields correct. One character artist worked for 18 months and was only able to design 7 characters because Chris...
Now, this is a guy that's actually no longer working there, by the way. So, there's no... There's no bias or anything here. My understanding was with that article, now I could be wrong about this, but my understanding with the Forbes article was that they were actually saying that this guy had only built 7 characters or whatever in the 18 months he was there, and that's why he was fired. He was actually fired because he was taking too long, not because of anything that CIG. CIG was actually the one that canned him, from my understanding. And it was because of him basically not getting his ass into gear and getting any of his work done. I don't know how that's Chris Roberts' fault with your character artist that's too slow. But anyway.
Chris Roberts kept on coming in and changing his mind about what the character should look like all the time. So nothing gets done around there because it all has to get funneled through this one dude. There's 537 employees across 3 different offices.
There's actually more than 3 offices. There's actually about 5 now. Like I say, if you're going to talk about a game, at the very least... especially coming from a professional, I want to use that term very loosely here, but a professional video creators and professional gaming journalists, these guys try and make out that, they're just, 2 guys sitting around talking about games. I imagine they've got sponsors and they've got investors and stuff like that. And at the end of the day, I would say that, you should probably do some more research before go talking about a game. But funny thing is, they actually mentioned later that they haven't actually played this game since the 18 months ago. Yeah, imagine going through and actually talking about a game you haven't played. Interesting, but moving along.
They're spending $30 million a year on salaries at the moment trying to make this game.
And at the moment, how much do they have left out of all the money that they have raised?
They've raised $288 million.
No, they haven't. No, they haven't. They've raised $45 million from the investors. They had raised 200. I think it was around 215 at the time of the Forbes article, or 220. That is roughly 265 million. So no, they haven't. They have not raised 280. This is something the Forbes article got wrong, which is really weird because apparently one of their Forbes articles writers was to do with finance. Okay, it can't even apparently do math, but regardless. But these guys are just paraphrasing the Forbes article. They like I said, they haven't done their own research on this, as far as I know.
$10 million, everyone. That's all they got. That's 6 months left of.
By the way, they still have that 45 million from that investors that we know of, or that we suspect. Obviously, we haven't seen the actual account ourselves, but we presume that 45 million, they said it was earmarked for investing, for putting into promotion materials. We presume that 45 million is still available as well, so that would actually be $60 million, not 15. Once again, your figures are wrong. Not only that, but they've also raised more money since then. They're constantly raising more money as people buy ships, people go through, sign up. As the game gets more and more completed, more and more people are signing up. Plus, they're also, now they can go through and start selling some of the tech that they've actually built. For example, OCS, client side. They can go through and they can start selling that off to other developers who want to use Lumberyard. They can also sell their 64-bit procedural. I presume they built that. So they can also possibly go through and sell that. And then when they go through and start doing server meshing and stuff like that, they can also sell that tech as well.
Wages. That's it.
Unless they are able to continuously raise money,
which
they
I
are
sadly
not able to sustain this game.
Which I sadly think that they will be. There will be more people that fall for this. I just know it. Okay.
Now,
have you played it? We just literally had a free fly weekend, a free fly week. Did you play it at all over that free fly week? Oh, you didn't. Interesting.
There has been pyramid schemes since the dawn of time, and people always fall for them. Ponzi, sorry, of course.
Yes, we don't want to go using that word pyramid scheme because at the end of the day, that would be opening us for liable action. So just dealing with this because they keep throwing that term around. The actual term for Ponzi scheme is actually factually inaccurate. There's no way that Star Citizen is a Ponzi scheme. And this is something that someone has actually brought up in their comments. I'm just going to read out what he said. Hey Laymen Gayman, I like a lot of your stuff and normally I won't go as far as to comment, but I find this video very misleading. I'm not going to sit up on a soapbox to defend Star Citizen. Lord knows the game in its place, it should have been 3 or 4 years ago, but it's not what you make it out to be. It's very clear from the video that you haven't actually played the game in any of the last year. There are 2 main points that I wish to contest. First, the game is not a pyramid scheme, a MLM/Ponzi scheme, Paris pyramid scheme, involving buying a massive stock from some low-quality product and then selling that stock to underlings who sell that stock to an underlings who lose a lot of the money at the benefit of the top guys. Star Citizen does not have that model in any way, shape, or form. Not to say that you should buy it. Personally, I wouldn't recommend it. Blah 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 blah. But if for 99% of people, but it's not a pyramid scheme. To buy a ship from the company, it's yours. You cannot sell it to other players or get your friends to funnel their purchases through you. It's a completely different model. That is literally someone that's written that in the comment. I've put a copy of that up on the screen. I've blacked out his name because obviously there's a lot of people that will go through and send hate campaign and everything because it's Star Citizen. It's very polarizing. But yeah, and that is a fairly accurate, my understanding of what a Ponzi scheme is. There's no way that Star Citizen is that. And like I said, by them calling it that, they're actually opening themselves up for liable action. Libel, slander, whatever it may be. If I was Chris Roberts, I'd be talking to a lawyer. But that's me.
Now I have no doubt that once this is in the news again, a bunch of morons will be like, well, you know what? They need my money, okay? I'm going to help these poor guys out.
I do find...
What about people that go and buy Anthem for $80? Or Fallout 76? People that pre-ordered and brought Fallout 76 on its release date, and then literally weeks later, it was like half price. Are they morons too?
What's actually...
I would say they're actually more likely to be morons because of the fact that they got duped by Bethesda and all these AAA game companies and anyone that goes through. And when you invest in Star Citizen, there is plenty of warnings that say that this is a pre-alpha game. This is a game in development. You are going through and you are supporting this game in development. Trust me, I see the warnings every time. I get sick of seeing the warnings every freaking time. But I'm glad they're there. Because it stops people like these guys going through and claiming there's not enough. Which would be what they would be claiming. But, you know.
Very interesting about this is that when I posted this on Twitter, there's just a lot of people that come back at you very angry for calling this out. And they're like...
Maybe they're going back at you and maybe we're responding to you because you're factually wrong about some of the stuff that you're claiming. The price you claim was $280 million is actually wrong. They haven't spent that. They haven't even raised that money in the first place. Like, if people are calling you out, maybe you should sit there and think, okay, maybe people are calling us out. Maybe people are going through and are calling us out because we're wrong about some stuff. But no, we're just going to keep soldiering on, I suppose. Who cares if we get stuff wrong, right? Like, apparently the game's been in development for 8 years now. Apparently it's already 2010. Don't tell anybody.
They're really hardcore Star Citizen fans, and they really believe in the vision of the game. And they're like, Chris Roberts is building something amazing here, man. You need to check it out, blah, blah, blah. I checked the game out like 18 months ago, admittedly. Haven't checked
Yeah, okay. He checked it out 18 months ago.
it out since then, but I...
Just rewind that.
is building something amazing here, man. You need to check it out, blah, blah, blah. I checked the game out like 18 months ago, admittedly. Haven't checked it out since then, but I watched...
But yet you're sitting here... You're sitting here talking about a game, supposedly doing a video on a game, when you haven't even checked it out. This literally just had a free fly week. You could have gone through and played the game for free. You couldn't even be bothered doing that. This is game journalism, people. Jesus Christ. At the very least, when I go and do a video on something, especially when it's on the actual crux of the game, the actual game development and stuff like that, if I have a chance to play the game, I will actually play the game. These guys apparently don't even bother doing that. They just make videos reciting Forbes articles. Because apparently, me agenda. But anyway.
Gameplay clips, because there was also an alpha on recently, like a free-to-play event, whatever. It looks nice, don't get me wrong. Very pretty game, you know, great. But it still looks like a tech demo. There's no actual game there. There's no playable game there.
How do you know if you haven't actually played it? Now, look, at the end of the day, I will agree on one thing. Well, there's a couple of things I agree on. But one thing that statement I agree on, it's not a game. At the moment, it is a pre-alpha. Which we know. This is the problem with open development. And this is something where it's a catch-22 situation, okay? Because people would not still keep supporting this project if they hadn't seen the game, if they hadn't been able to play the game in development. Obviously, people being able to play it obviously helps them go through and to keep funding the project because they can show what they've actually done. AAA games and stuff like that will actually do closed development, will actually go through and you wouldn't see any of this. There'd be no man behind the curtain. It's all, the game's released and this is how you play it. This is what it looks like when it's finished. But with Star Citizen, we actually get to see it being developed. We get to see the good and the bad. At the moment, the 3.5, it's not good. They've changed a lot of the fundamental issues, like, for example, the flight model, and it's caused a lot of knock-on effects. Sure. Guess what? It's still in development. You do what I do. Take a break from it for a month or something, for a week or whatever it may be. Let them go through and put out some patches to get 3.5 back up and running and fix all the bugs, and then we can jump back in it, and by then hopefully my internet will be upgraded. But no one's... Also, at the end of the day, no one's forcing them. I don't want to say this because it's kind of a cop-out, but no one's forcing people to invest in this. If you don't want to invest in the game, fine. Wait for it to be finished, and then you can go through and you can buy the game then. But these guys, we know they're not going to buy it when it comes out. Even if it's a frigging AAA game like class quality, even if it's in the best game in the world, we know they probably won't buy it. Because then they'll have to admit they were wrong.
Other than the space you can explore and flying around randomly, there's apparently 140 ships that you can buy. Some of them sell for as much as $3,000 by the way.
It's only about 3 of them. There's 3 ships that you can buy, that like 3 different classes. There's the Idris M, Idris P, the Idris K, your Javelin, and maybe the Kraken. I think the Kraken was actually $1,300 actually. I don't even think that was $3,000. So there's literally 2 classes of ships. If you want to go counting the variants and stuff like that, you could probably beef those numbers up to 4. That's it. The rest of them are a couple $100 or $20 or $40 or whatever, depending is on what ship you buy. But here's the thing. You also can go through and you can buy these ships in game. Something they do not mention once in this whole video.
$3,000.
Of course they don't mention that because they haven't actually played it. Remember, he hasn't played it in 18 months.
And only about 87 of those ships right now are finished and playable. The rest of them are just like little images that they're still selling for some reason.
Yeah.
They're actually not selling. You can't go to Roberts Space Industries right now and buy an Idris. They only come on sale once every now and then, actually, technically. So not even this is factually accurate. You can buy an Idris probably once or twice a year and that's it. Last time I saw it was on sale was in October, and apart from that, I think it was October the year before that was the last time it was on sale. It comes up once a year. They sell, and they're very limited supply. They sell out in about 10 seconds flat. I think the Idris sold out in 10 seconds. The Kraken sold out in about 5 seconds. You really got to be quick to buy those, because they're limited. They don't keep pumping them out. And this is the thing, right? If Chris Roberts was so money hungry as everybody likes to claim, why would he not sell the $3,000 ships and just keep constantly pumping them out? Why would he only sell a certain limited number of the ships, quote, according to him? Because he doesn't want the market, he doesn't want the universe to become swamped with Idrises and Kraken and stuff like that. He wants the scarcity of these big capital ships. Also, you can buy these other ships in Eve as well, can't you? No one seems to complain about Eve. It's weird, that.
There's meant to be 100 star systems that they're trying to design.
And they've only got 1, right?
I think they haven't even finished one
I don't
yet.
think they've finished 1 yet.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about that, because this is where it gets frustrating. The reason why Star System hasn't finished one Star System, per se, is because at the moment, the tech can't support it. At the moment with Star Citizen, we are literally getting towards the most that the servers can handle because of the fact that these Star Systems are so big. To give you an idea, The Witcher. Right? The Witcher, which is known as having The Witcher 3, which is known for having these big maps, these huge, great big play areas. They fit in a crater on one of the moons of Star Citizen. The whole area of The Witcher 3 fills up not even a crater in the Star System universe on a moon. We have Stanton, Hurston, ArcCorp now. We don't have Microtech, and we don't have the Stanton planet itself. The planet's there, but there's no landing zones or anything yet. So we've still got those 2 or 3 landing zones to go. Plus, all the planets that we have moons. So at the moment, there's about 3 planets, 2 or 3 planets, and there's about 10 to 15 moons. And that's not including things like space stations and everything like that. There's also space stations all over the place. There's there's the truck stops. And there's also things like Grimhex and stuff like that. I'm actually working on a video that actually goes through and shows off the whole of Star Citizen. It talks about the good and the bad. It was supposed to be about 20 minutes, and at the moment it's over an hour long, so I'm going to have to break it up into sections. But yeah, there is a lot to Star Citizen, okay? The 64 procedural, I think it's a 64-bit procedural that they've got. They actually go through and they talk about the size of it. It's absolutely huge. Now, not only is that this one star system, for example, so big and complicated, and obviously they've got to fill it out with all this, like truck stops, space stations, and everything like that, like PSK and stuff like that. SPK, sorry. But also, at the end of the day, that the reason why they're still building the Stanton system is because the biodomes on these planets allow them to go through and to easily make the other systems. So Stanton system itself, it has a lot of the biodomes, everything but lava, that we actually need for the Star System universe. Lava's the only real one that's not in this universe. So what they did was they went through and they started building Stanton, which would then allow them to go through and to build all the tech to get all these biodomes. And once that happens, they can start building them really, really, really fast. ArcCorp, for example, they went and they built that within 2 months, I think it was. So at the end of the day, they not only are they getting faster at building them, but they also have these biodomes, for example, now, where they're actually able to go through and to put them into the game. For example, Microtech. We are having a snow-covered planet. That snow tech that they're building for Microtech will allow them to use that same technology for the snow and the atmosphere and the biodome in all the other places where they have snow. So the reason why it's taking so long at the moment is they're not just building the planets. They're actually got to go through. They've got to put all the resources in there. They've got to put all the space stations, all the rec sites, and everything like that. All the drug labs, all the outposts, and everything like that. But they also have to build the tech for these biodomes. Once that's done, it's going to be a lot quicker because then they can get them built probably in about a month or 2 months per planet. But regardless.
Yeah, so I mean, if it takes 7 years to make one starship, guys, we'll all be dead by the time this...
Factually inaccurate because they're building the tech. That in itself is just absolutely insane. Just even thinking that is stupid. Because like I say, building tech, which they don't have to rebuild for every different system because they're building all the biodomes now.
Comes out, okay? There'll be Street Fighter 42 by then, okay?
A Squadron 42. Hey, that's the add-on for Star Citizen.
He actually, what's his name again? Chris Roberts also recently bought a house, everybody. $4.7 or $4.2 million, whatever.
He actually bought it with existing funds. It had nothing to do with the Star Citizen. They actually admit this. They put that caveat at the end. Because, hey, let's talk about this. And, oh, by the way, he sort of brought it with pre-existing funds. They actually talk about it in a sec.
But it's important to know that apparently that was actually with funds that he got before. It's not. Apparently, it's not money from the Kickstarter. I think.
So why did you mention it? Because it's poisoning the well.
We're going to see a lot of comments about that. Yeah. That's why.
He made bank from...
Yeah, you're going to see a lot of comments. People calling you out, admitting the fact that you were wrong about that. And that's where they go, oh, people call us out for... Yes, because you get shit wrong. You haven't even played the game in 18 months. But anyway.
Before when he sold his companies to Microsoft and whatever else. He was also involved, this is a really interesting tidbit, he was involved with a production company based in Hollywood that was raising money in Germany.
Yeah, it was called Casting Couch Co.
That's right. But it turns out the way they were raising money was actually deemed illegal in Germany. So they had to then shut down their production studio. But it really shows why Chris Roberts has this interest in pulling in talent. Like, for example...
So, just dealing with this, because this is actually also something that they got completely wrong. And we can actually jump over to the Forbes article that actually talks about this. So, Robert concedes that Microsoft was frustrated... sorry, that's not the right spot. Alright, here. But things went shanky. To make the movies, Roberts teamed up with German lawyer Owel Fulmith, I'm getting that name wrong, I apologise, who is now vice chairman of Cloud Imperium. they arranged financing from an investment fund that was using a tax scheme to raise money in Germany for Hollywood movies. By 2006, the government had stopped the practice and the fund's founder was sentenced to jail for tax fraud. According to Variety, Roberts and Frometh were not implicated. Okay, so first of all, this the tax system that they're doing, that the arrange for financing from an investment fund that was using a tax scheme, that to me sounds like they were working in conjunction with a third party that was doing something shonky. And the fact that Roberts and Frometh were not advocated or implicated in this tends to me think that they were innocent. That they had absolutely nothing to do with this tax scheme that this guy was running. So what I think has happened is that that Chris Roberts and Frometh were actually teamed up with another person to make these Hollywood movies. The other person that was financing the operation was doing shonky things when it came to the money that Chris and that had no idea about, and the government locked up the third party, or locked up this other guy, but Chris and his current CEO of Cloud Imperium Games, or vice chairman of Cloud Imperium Games, were not implicated. That to me sounds like it's completely, that Chris and that was completely exonerated from this. So my question is, why are you bringing this up? Why are you talking about this? Well, to poison the well, basically, is what they're doing. It had absolutely nothing to do with Chris or anything that Chris was doing wrong, per se. So moving along.
Well, they've got Mark Hamill.
Of course, they don't want to talk about that, you know.
In the game, and a whole bunch of other stars starring in Squadron 42, which is the first-person sort of component of Star Citizen.
Yeah.
But I was going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
He obviously
That's not the real voice, by the way. They've tried to put the voice over from something else to... Yeah, but anyway.
has this desire to work with Hollywood actors. Fair enough. It'd be pretty cool to hang out with Mark Hamill.
Totally.
I'm not gonna lie.
And let's face it, Mark Hamill is known as like the one of the best voice actors really out there. You know, in terms of what he can do. So I get it. It's going to cost a lot of money, though, people. Okay,
Correct.
It's going to cost a lot of money.
That's already been paid for. It came out of the $200 million that was already spent, as far as we know. All the mocap and everything like that, as far as my understanding is, it's been done.
I don't think Mark Hamill would be working on minimum wage.
No, if he's got $14 million in the bank, he's got $30 million in staff fees every year, and he wants to pull in all this extra talent, and he still has an actor.
The talent's been paid for. Dude, do your fucking research. My understanding is that the Gillian Anderson, Mark Hamill, all these sort of, Cavill, all these sort of guys, they've all been paid for. That's where the money went. That's where the $200 million went. Like, Jesus Christ. Do your frigging job, dude. Or at least do some research before you go spouting shit.
Actually finished his game. It obviously shows that he's going to need to continuously raise money. I believe
I'd agree with that. It does. We do need Star Citizen to constantly keep raising money because they obviously have to keep doing development. Once they go through and they get Stanton done and they get the core tech for Stanton put in, they get server-side meshing and stuff like that, OCS server-side, I think you're going to find that it's going to speed up very, very fast. And we're going to start seeing a few systems coming in pretty quick. Because they'll have all the core tech, they'll have the biodomes and everything built. We suspect after they've done the Stanton system, they're going to do Pyro, which will give them the lava tech, which will be cool, and that will be basically all the biodomes done by then.
Last year they raised $48 million for their kitty, to keep things going, and a lot of that comes from just selling these ships for like $3,000 a pop. Like
there's only one or two ships that sell for $3,000. Unless you want to go counting variants, then you can probably bump it up to 4. Like most ships in Star Citizen, Bennett Merchantman, for example, which is a huge frigging ship, was literally $350. Far, far different than the $3,000 they're claiming. You can go through and you can buy a starter kit for $40 and $45 actually. And you go through, and once you buy that, you can then buy the ships in game. You can go in and you can actually grind if you want at the moment, and of course it's hard because the game's not complete, sure. But you can go through and you can grind and you can buy a hammerhead in-game for 6 million in-game currency. Sure, it'll take you a while to do it. Sure, it's frustrating to do it at the moment because of the server resets and stuff like that. But once they stop resetting the servers, once that server-side meshing and all that is in and they're not restarting the servers every 3 months, it is going to be a completely different story.
Utter insanity.
It
but,
is.
but coming back to my point, like, a lot of people are willing to defend this because they're like, oh, I really believe in this product. But at the end of the day, like, you have to recognize, we all have to agree that something is fucking
There's
like
something
seriously
seriously
up
wrong.
here, you know,
Yeah.
because
Why don't you play the game before you go commenting on it? You haven't played it in 18 months. Like,
if you can make GTA 5 for 265 million
And
bucks,
within a 5-year window or whatever it was.
yeah, because they had the previous tech, you morons. They went through and they already had the existing knowledge with the engine. They already had some of the assets. They already had some of the staff. Then this is the thing that they don't mention. For example, Star Citizen, right? They haven't had 500 employees since the start of their game development. The first year, they had like 50 or 100 employees. I think it was like 50, actually. Chris Roberts has gone through and he's talked to us. And I'm going to make another video explaining all this. But they had minimal amount of staff the first year. The second year, yeah, they got some more. They got up to like 200 people or 150 or whatever it was. The third year, I'm going to try and find the graph and I'll put it up here so you get to see it. And they've slowly built up the staff numbers over the years. They haven't had 500 people since the start. And this is something that they sit there and they want to criticize Star Citizen for. Oh, it's taken 7 years, which they claim is 8, but it's 7. It's taken 7 years. Yeah, because the first year they only had so many employees. Like, GTA 5, they already had that existing player base. And by the way, Rockstar Games, which has over 1,000 employees, I think there's like 1,500 employees, actually can go through and use some of their existing employees from different games, and they can pull them off that to help with GTA if they need to. Star Citizen can't do that. Jesus Christ, it's not so freaking hard to understand. No wonder people keep calling you out for shit when you get stuff wrong.
5 years,
You know?
then and you can't get this product out at $288 million. They don't even have.
It's not $288 million, you they've raised $270 million with the $45 million that came from private investors that's earmarked for publishing. Right? They've only funded $225 million from the backers for building the game. That $45 million, as far as we know, is sitting in a bank account waiting for them to use it for publishing Squadron 42, which is what they're showing here, by the way.
Have a release date, by the way, for Star Citizen at this point. No release date at all. They're just like, we're still working on it, you know?
Look, I think that, another thing is a lot of people have been asking for refunds now, okay? Now, I think that'll continue to happen now when more and more of these...
No, it won't. Oh my god, I really wish you knew shit. No, it won't, because when you go through and you actually sign up and you buy ships and that from the game, from their website, it literally says that you are investing into the game, that you're not investing, you're pledging into the game, and at the end of the day, you're not able for refunds. You now have a 30-day refund window, or whatever it may be, for purchasing the game, which is better than what you actually get from someone like, for example, Steam or Epic Games or whatever. The refund policy is like, sometimes it's like it's play it for a few hours and you have to return it. Star Citizen, you got 30 days.
These articles come out. As someone's asked for $24,000 back, like, who the hell puts $24,000 into Star Citizen? I don't...
Some people, yeah, there are people that do that, that believe in the project. But mind you, these are guys that make stacks of money. $24,000 for them, it's nothing. It's all relative.
I don't know, but I'm sure it's the people that are, defending it on Twitter right now.
There's this.
No, it's not normally, actually. They're the big whales. They're the people that are millionaires that want to invest in the project.
One great story. This one guy actually requested a refund, was rejected, took Cloud Imperium to court, lost the court case, and then continued to buy more ships after he lost the court case.
As you do.
This in itself is a little misleading because they're sort of making it sound like it was the $24,000 guy, the whale that wanted his money back, and I hate using that term, but it fits, I suppose. The guy that actually asked for the money back is actually here. Poor impulse control. He actually then look, $4,500 is a lot of money, sure, but he only put in $4,500. 2013 spent $4,500 buying spaceships. Last year, Lord unsuccessfully sued Cloud Imperium for a refund. You take something that is bad, like spending too much money on a video game, and turn it into a social exclusive club and make it desirable. Cheers to their marketing department, he says bizarrely. Lord, who claims to have poor impulse control, continued to buy more spaceships after his filed lawsuit. It's not my place to talk about what people spend their money on, says Gardner. When asked was it like to work for blah, 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 blah. So he spent $4,500. He asked for a refund. Montoya has actually done a video talking about that, and I'm going to put a clip here talking about this, and we'll just play that for you now because I think he does a better job of summing it up than I do.
Let me read it to you first. I'm on the right screen, yeah. It may seem silly, but there's real victims are talking about getting refunds and how Star Citizen no longer allows refunds. Before we dive in there, it used to be, back in the old days, that if you put money in, you could ask for a refund anytime. I know people that pulled refunds out for any reason. They want to buy new shoes, some guy wanted a new video card. They would sell ships, they'd ask for refunds on ships they put money in. What people were doing is they were using CIG as a bank account. They would put in $1,000 in 2013, and in 2015 they go, well, I like to buy more RAM, so I'm just going to get a refund on my account. And CIG says, hang on, we can't operate like this. We can't work as a business if people use us as a bank account. And so they changed the terms of service to say that you are eligible to a refund within 30 days. You can buy a starter package or whatever you want, play for 30 days, and then say, you know what, if you don't like it, refund to you, they will do it. But before, there was no expiry date on that. So he goes on to say this guy named Ken Lord is a 39-year-old data scientist from Denver who suffers from worsening multiple sclerosis, and he wanted a refund for $4,500. He sued, took to court, and his lawsuit failed. I remember the story. I forget the guy's Reddit username, but Mr. Lord was honest here. He does have a debilitating disease, multiple sclerosis, which does affect his motor functionality. And his concern was that by the time this game comes out, he will not be able to play the game. A completely valid concern. He's concerned that in 2020, 2022, when the actual full MMO comes out, he's not going to be able to play. And he goes, you know what? I want my money back. And I felt for this guy because he's right. It's a sad situation. Maybe CIG should consider refunding him. But here's the magical part. And this is the weirdest part that I ever heard of. After trying to sue them to get the money back, bizarrely, Mr. Lord, who claims to have poor impulse control, continued to buy more spaceships after his lawsuit failed. What? 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 You don't want to be involved in the game to the point where you're taking them to court for a refund. That lawsuit fails. You go, lost in court. A reasonable person would have gone to the gray market, sold the stuff in the gray market, and left and put this behind them. Mr. Lord loses the lawsuit, goes, I can't get my refund. Oh, there's a new ship sale. I think I'll buy that ship too. It could mean, let's try to find a positive spin. It's possible that his multiple sclerosis is not as bad or is not advancing as fast as they thought it would, and maybe he can still play the game. I hope it's that. Mr. Lord, if you're watching this, let me know, and I'm glad to hear you're still around. That's great news in a way.
Dude, you lose, you're like, you know what? It's time to lose more, everybody. That's what you do.
He describes himself as someone with poor impulse control. You're very self-aware, my friend.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't he just go to the casino? That's my question. If it's just about poor impulse control, and if that's the thing, if it's just him that's going through and not being able to control spending, why is it he's constantly backing Star Citizen? Why is it would he not go and just go to the casino or spend it on hookers or whatever it may be?
Look, I just think that, I think the big question is, is this a scam? Is this ever going to really see the light of day? I think that we look at the perfect example. What's that festival?
Fire Festival.
Fire Festival's probably a really good example.
Yes.
Okay, they make this entrepreneur creates an app that wants to try and you can book celebrities, makes this cool island where everyone can have a big party. It all falls in a heap. Now, was his original intention to be some scammy dude that creates an event that never really was going to take place? Probably not, and I think that Chris Roberts might be in the same situation. He just doesn't.
By the way, Forbes article has actually answered this question, the thing that they keep referencing, and literally said that Star Citizen's not a scam. But hey, me narrative, isn't it?
Know how to manage. He doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know. This is all just a big project, and it seems like he's just not able to.
Yeah,
to do
I'm
it.
sure that Chris Roberts does want to create the greatest video game ever made.
Sure.
I'm sure he does want to create the greatest space sim ever, because his whole life has been about creating those experiences. He even directed the Wing Commander movie. You can put some Wing Commander movie memes in this video, trust me.
Okay, I'm gonna check that out now.
Do that.
Why didn't you warn us that your kind could close jump points? You're a liar.
Lieutenant!
Excuse
I got nothing to say about this. They're just memeing. It's not even the real audio.
Excuse me. Colonel Hobbs' loyalty is not to be questioned again. Is that understood?
So he lives for this stuff, right? He wants to do the best for his community, for his fans, whatever else. But it's very clear at this point he is the wrong person to be leading this, and they need to get someone in there who can ship this game.
Yeah.
Now, the thing about this, right, and the thing that they didn't mention is that, sure, Chris might have micromanaged up until a few years ago. Yeah, there was a problem with that. Full credit, that is true. According to what we've heard from CIG and stuff like that, now, Chris has not necessarily taken a backseat, but he has gone through and stopped micromanaging everybody to such an extent, and is letting people get on and get their job done, which is why we've seen huge steps forward lately in this game development. The game changing from 2015 through to 2019 has made you're literally seeing it here, by the way. It's good that they're actually showing off how good the game looks. This is Squadron 42, but they're literally going through and they're making huge steps forward. We've almost got the whole Stanton system complete now. It's expected to be finished in January, presuming that we obviously get server-side meshing, because we're at the ends of what the servers can actually hold at the moment, which is why we're having a few issues, to say the least. But yeah, at the moment, they are actually making steps forward, and Chris is actually not taking a back seat. He's still very much leading the development, but he has, from my understanding and from what we've heard from CIG, has literally taken a seat back when it comes to the whole micromanaging thing.
It's very common in gaming, by the way, where they have all these designers and these people, creative directors, and then they get towards the pointy end of a project, and then they bring in a closer, a producer, who just shuts everything down. They're like, no, that feature's cut, that's not happening, change that, just to get the game out the door in a shippable state. But
and we get things like Anthem. They're literally advocating for something like Anthem to happen to Star Citizen. Can you imagine if Star Citizen did that? That everybody would go through and they would shift the goalposts from this game's never coming out to this game will never likely see the end of the day to, oh my god, the game came out, but look how busted it was. And they would never be okay with that. They would never be happy with that. And to be honest, I wouldn't be happy with that either.
Compromising the vision, obviously.
Yeah, I think that it's one thing when a company is going to be creating a game and making sure it's ready to ship or has a deadline. It's another thing entirely when you're using money from people that have pledged. It's a different thing. I think you've got a bigger responsibility there.
I don't, because at the end of the day, the money that was spent on this game, we are investing it on our own free will. We have gone through and said, yes, we are happy giving this amount of money to CIG, Chris Roberts, for him to go through and to build that game. And at the end of the day, that in itself is what you're comfortable. You can go through and you can give anything from $0 to $40 to $600 to $1,000, whatever it may be. You are more than happy giving what you feel safe about. And at the end of the day, getting someone else to come in to basically cut things out of the game and everything like that, like they've literally just said, would be a mistake if you ask me.
And I think that it's one of those situations where there is a lot of moral and ethical business responsibility right now that doesn't seem like it's being adhered to.
The guys that haven't played a game in 18 months that are quoting and talking about the game development because, they've played it so much, are now talking about business ethics and morals. Maybe you need to apply those morals to your own journalism when it comes to talking about a project. Maybe, especially when they have a free fly week, where it was literally free for you to play, you should take the 5 or 10 minutes to go through and to actually play the game.
I think that 7 years for a game, people, $280 million. What's going on?
It's not $280 million. It's $224 million they've raised, unless you want to go counting the 45, which makes $270 million. Which is not what they've spent. It's only what they've raised. By the way, Project CD Red, Cyberpunk 27 has been in development just as long. It was started development in 2012, which is the exact same when it comes to Star Citizen. Why are you not talking about that? Why is it that you are just talking about Star Citizen?
Here, a lot of people have put a lot of hard-working cash into this game. They deserve answers, and they probably deserve some changes in that upper management.
And regardless, even if it's the greatest game ever made, I will not support a game that charges $3,000 for in-game products. Like,
That's crazy.
No bias whatsoever.
Won't do it. That's fucked.
I mean,
so then don't play the game. At least we know where he stands on this game, I suppose. So when it comes out, don't review it. Don't play it. I didn't play. Well, I was going to buy The Division because I wanted to actually generally play that, but I just got so busy. But for example, I didn't go out and buy Anthem because I played the demo and it was shit. So I didn't go out and I didn't buy it. Don't buy the game. Simple.
It's ones and zeros.
It's absolute insanity that is a thing, So
Eve does that. Microtransactions do that with other games. At the very least, Star Citizen, for example, they've been upfront and honest and say, well, a lot of people in the community try and say it's not play to pay or play to win, but I call it is. But at the end of the day, people turn around and Star Citizen, they say, yes, you can buy these ships. It will cost you this amount of money. You can buy them in real world money. It's not something that's been added after the games came out. Or it's not something that's been added once the game has been finished. For example. Not using any other AAA game company as an example. At least with Star Citizen, you know exactly what it's going to cost. You know, hey, yes, you can buy these ships with real world money, but you don't have to. You can buy them in-game. You can go to Levski, you can go to Teacher's Shop and you can buy them from there, or you can go over and buy them at New Deal over at Hurston, or you can go and buy them at name eludes me because I can't pronounce it, that Aroma, whatever it is, shop over in Nutcourt. At the moment, they're selling the Hawk, but there's also Elevator, which I suspect is going to be taking you up to more floors, where they're planning on selling, I presume, more ships. So there's 3 places at the moment where you can buy ships in-game without having to buy real-world money. All you do is you just buy a starter pack, $40. The frigging cheap game for $40. For something like this, you're paying $40 for, mind you. Like, yeah, imagine Anthem coming out for $40.
So, no matter how good it is, I don't give a fuck. At the end of the day, I think that is morally unacceptable to
At least he's not biased.
charge people $3,000 for in-game items like that.
Yeah.
So that's
Guys,
my take.
look, before we go, we're also going to be doing some merch, guys, okay? It's going to be our best merch yet. It's going to take 7 years to ship, okay?
It is.
$3,000 though, okay? It's absolutely beautiful.
Great.
Please check it out. Link in the description. There is no link there. Thank you very much. See you later.
Now, the funny part about this is if you actually scroll down, there is actually merch. Like, yeah. $20 for a coffee cup, and you go on about Star Citizen charging a fortune. Aren't coffee cups normally like $5? Just saying. $27 for a bag. Oof. $55 for a jumper. $34 for a t-shirt. Well, yeah, at least you're $35 for this one. But normally shirts are like 10, 15 bucks, aren't they? 20 bucks? Just saying. You know. But anyway. Look, at the end of the day, the reason why I wanted to respond to this was just because of the fact that they just got so much stuff wrong. They got so much of this whole Star Citizen incorrect. I just wanted to go through and correct the record. And considering it's had 130,000 views, I think someone does need to push back on this sort of stuff. Because at the end of the day, I think this is a lot of crap. I really, really do. But guys, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think at the end of the day that they should have gone through and at least played the game? Do you think at the end of the day that they got a lot right? Do you think I got a lot wrong? Do you think at the end of the day that it would have been better if they had gone through and got the actual facts right? I would have suspected that, but anyway, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Apart from that, guys, obviously the video has been helpful. Please smack that like button. If you're new to the channel, welcome and subscribe. Apart from that, guys, we'll see you in the next demonetized video from YouTube. Have a great day and enjoy.